here. But looking back over the last 50 years in presidential politics, what I found, and I have to say I found this somewhat to my surprise, is that the relationship between a presidential candidate's campaign rhetoric and his conduct in office is virtually non-existent, with one exception, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter actually sought to govern according to the moral principles he articulated in 1976. The renegotiation of the Panama Canal treaties, for example, the calling attention to human rights abuses around the world, including those of our allies, the working for some sort of lasting peace in the Middle East, and he's gotten farther than any other president since the formation of the State of Israel in 1948. Jimmy Carter is the sole exception to the rule, which is that presidential politics have very little to do with behavior in the Oval Office. Let me end with an anecdote or kind of cautionary tale. We had the Compassion Forum this past Sunday. I won't be able to comment in my time now, but perhaps later I will. Trying to grill the candidates about their faith commitments. I have to say that overall I was somewhat disappointed with the debate because the questioners, I think, didn't get a chance, perhaps because of the format, to press the candidates on exactly how their faith informs their policies. But let me give you an example of how I think we should be interrogating, we as the voters should be interrogating these claims. Suppose after George W. Bush declared in 2000 that Jesus was his favorite philosopher, someone had asked a follow-up question or two. Governor Bush, your favorite philosopher calls on his followers to turn the other cheek and to love their enemies. How will that affect your foreign policy, especially in the event of, say, an attack on the United States? Or Governor Bush, your favorite philosopher expressed concern for the tiniest sparrow. Will that sentiment find any resonance in your environmental policies? I think these are legitimate questions. And not that we expect our politicians to be theologians, that's not the point. But it seems to me that if they're out there trumpeting their religious faith and their religious convictions, their moral compass, we need to know exactly what that means. I think it's probably fair to say, it is fair to say, and I'll stick behind it, that the moral compass that George W. Bush attested to in the 2000 presidential primary is, what's the word? It's become demagnetized or something. It really has not affected the way. I'd be open to people willing to prove me wrong on this, but I don't see any correlation between his attestations of faith and his conduct as president. But to be fair, that's true of the other presidents as well, with the sole exception of Jimmy Carter. Quickly, Ronald Reagan, for example. Ronald Reagan claimed that abortion and his opposition to abortion was the defining moral issue of our time. Well, one problem for that is that as governor of California, Reagan had signed into law the most liberal abortion bill in the country. But he still claimed in 1980 and 1984 that outlawing abortion was his top priority, and this was the defining moral issue of our day. Yet I found in his autobiography, over 700 pages, the issue of abortion appears not once.